Hey everyone, just want to wish you all a belated Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I want to just start this year off with a few comments, and then I'll turn it over to Kasra for him to share some thoughts on discipleship as well. As we look back to last year, in 2023 was a crazy year. I mean, it was crazy in a lot of challenging ways, but in a lot of good ways as well. But here we are at the start of 2024, a new year, and we just kind of want to give you a picture of a handful of things as we launch into this new year. You know, one of the things that we're all so excited about in this new building is just this idea of reaching out to our community, of being engaged in our neighborhood, of seeing new faces and new people join us. And as we think about that, one of the things that I've been reminded of, and we've talked about as pastors and staffs, is just this idea that we need to go deep. There needs to be depth in our relationship and our discipleship under Jesus before there can be this kind of idea of going far as a church. And my mind sometimes jumps so far ahead of where we want to go that I miss the reality that where we go is actually a result of the depth of relationship that we have with Jesus. And so 2024 is going to be all about just deepening our walk with Jesus as Lord and Savior. And so from a teaching perspective, the way that we're going to do this is we're going to spend a couple months at the beginning of the year in Genesis. There's like 50 chapters in Genesis. We're not going to cover everything, but maybe the first 10 to 15 chapters. Just God's plan for creation, his design from the start. Then we're going to jump into Revelation, a revelation of Jesus Christ. And we're going to look a little bit about what we know to come and what we know about Jesus's second return. And then we're actually going to spend just the rest of the year living in this in between. What does it mean for us today, between creation and between God's design and between Jesus' second coming? What does it mean for us as disciples to deepen our walks with Jesus in the in-between, between the creation and Jesus' second coming? And so one of the things that we're excited for this year is just, what does it mean to go deep? What does it mean to be a more intentional disciple of Jesus? And so Kasra, do you mind sharing with us a few thoughts?
Yeah, no, I'm happy to. I mean, I love that teaching concept because I think it really ties in almost the whole 12 months in a way that really will help and bolster and complement a lot of our efforts. Now that we've kind of gotten back into some normal rhythms and routines, you know, we've been able to connect with our community group leaders and kind of touch base with all of our groups and just to kind of see where they're at, what their needs are. And we've got some groups that have outgrown kind of that ideal size. So we're walking through multiplying and what that looks like for them. We've got a couple of groups on the on-ramp to launch and offer new locations and nights of the week. And so just it's really exciting to kind of see all of that coalesce in this season, as that's always been kind of our strong suit, but we're just hoping to organize it more, support it more, and include way more people into those groups that I think is always just such a good part of being in a church and having that deeper commitment. In addition to that, you know, some of the things that God put on our hearts through just praying and considering what does discipleship look like at Trellis outside of a Sunday morning community and learning under you, and also in a community group where we get to do life together and come alongside one another and support each other in the happy times and in the sad times and in the in-between times. So what does it look like to go even a little deeper than that? And one of the things we're going to throw out, and seems kind of bold, but I think it's going to be really awesome in a lot of ways, is what if every person at Trellis had a person that they met with one-on-one, once a week, couple of times a month, and just did life together in that setting. They challenged one another, they encouraged one another, they kept each other accountable, and just to see what that looks like. What if we're able to link each person with another person, even if you're in a community group or you're serving in other ministries, but took a little bit of time, and we're not asking for more commitments, but we're just asking you to think deeper about your walk. And it's something we always take and say, you know, I've got this, I'm going to do it on my own, and that only gets you so far. But when you add another person in the mix and you get deeper outside of a group setting, that will open up a lot of doors, I think, for our spiritual journey and walk. And I think God is going to just really honor that and help us to grow deeper, which is what God put on your heart for this year. And the elders are fully in support of it, and the staff is willing to do whatever it takes to make this happen. So super excited for both of those things happening and the Sunday teaching.
Yeah. So as we look forward to just the beginning of this year on January 7th, Tom's going to kick us off as he has for a lot of years with just a New Year's sermon, but really pointing towards what God is calling us to this year. And then on the 14th, I'd encourage you to make sure that you're here if you can be on January 14th. We're going to do a vision sermon where I'm just going to kind of look at what does it look like for us as a church in 2024, for us as individuals, what does it look like for us as a church to engage this community and the neighborhood in which we find ourselves. And then on the 21st, we'll jump in with Genesis chapter 1. And so again, I hope you had a great 2023. This is the time of year where we're looking back on the things from last year, but we're also looking forward to new goals and resolutions and things that we want to accomplish and do, and things that we want God to accomplish and do through us in 2024. So we're excited for a great year. Brothers and sisters, we are praying for you and just confident that God is going to do a work in us and through us individually and collectively. So here's to a great year at Trellis Church. We look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great week.
God bless.